President, yes, I do, and thank you very much. I rise to speak on our budget because it was a little more than 7 years ago that I decided to step forward and run for this office. And it was really done for two primary purposes. Number one is that I have younger children, although I will tell you they are now graduating from grammar school and another one graduating from college, but 7 years ago I was in quite a different place. And I recognized at that time that our government was mortgaging their future. And I had a choice. I could either sit on the couch and do nothing and grouse about it, or get involved. And for the past 6 years, I know I've had the opportunity to comment on budgets. And unfortunately, a lot of those budgets have put us on the path that Connecticut now suffers from. It's what the governor calls the new economic reality. The new economic reality that requires middle-class families to accept a standard of living that is in decline. The second reason I got involved was that I am, as a practitioner, an elder law attorney. And so working in the Medicaid field for as long as I have, I've had some aptitude and skill dealing with human services. And so I felt I could come and make a contribution in that area. In both of these issues that I got involved for, to make sure that the future for our children is bright and prosperous, as well as preserving a social safety net for those individuals who are less fortunate and in need of help, this budget helps both those issues. So I stand forward and rise today to support this budget and to vote for this budget. Because what this budget does is it addresses not only what I got involved for, but as I go across my district, from Danny's Drive-In in Stratford to Bill's in Monroe, or from Huntington Green in Shelton to the Hill section of Seymour, families and individuals across my district continue to tell me about the financial hardship and difficulty it is to make ends meet here in the state of Connecticut. I hear all the time about what tax increases, what the cost of doing business, what the costs of fees and expenses that our government puts on our people, what that means to them and their family budget, and how it is so much more difficult today to make those ends meet than it was a few years ago. And I'm telling you, the people that come to me in my district are coming to me frustrated because they feel that their government isn't listening. Well, let me tell you, with this budget, I believe this listens to middle-class Connecticut. And we hear you loud and clear that this budget puts you, the middle-class family of Connecticut, front and center. Our budget has no new taxes, closes the deficit, and does so in a balanced way. That's what Connecticut families do, and that's what our budget should do, and that's what this does. We also, in this budget, invest in transportation. We move forward our prioritized progress initiatives so that we can invest to make sure that Connecticut can continue to grow jobs. And we also place a priority on increased funding for education to make sure that our children are equipped with the proper skills so that they can compete in the next generation. And we do it with an ECS that's an actual formula. This is new. This is bold. We hear time and time again that it's very difficult to retire in Connecticut. Well, what this budget also includes is a repeal of the income tax on Social Security income, and unfortunately we can't do it for pension today, but it will be phased in over time. For any single filer, $75,000 or less, and joint filers of $100,000, there's going to be a repeal of the income tax on your Social Security income. That, again, bold. We preserve the core social services funding. We make sure that we take care of people that need help. We fund mental health and substance abuse, care for kids, and maintain day and employment services for persons with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We maintain aging in place and senior initiatives. We reject the governor's constant cuts to aging in place, that those initiatives that individuals want, that are arguably better and less expensive in a day and age when we have little resources and more demand. These are the types of initiatives that we need to focus on and move forward. Unfortunately, since I've been here, what I've seen is a retreat from the Connecticut Home Care Program, a retreat from aging in place initiatives, a retreat from those government services that our seniors, the greatest generation, looked for, fought for, and have earned, have been basically abandoned. And in this budget, we restore that. We also look to Meals on Wheels and also non-ADA dial-a-ride, as well as looking at maintaining burial fund services, and then what I believe to be one of the most unkindest cuts is a restoration of the personal needs allowance. Let me tell you what that is. A personal needs allowance is what little you have left when someone has exhausted all their life savings, their house, their money, their assets are below $1,600. They're in a nursing home, and we take all their income, but $60. 60. That's all you have left, is $60. And the governor wants to cut that too. We do not. We do not. As chairman on the insurance committee, we had a bill that came before us this year, and I might say that I was a bit ashamed to actually have to witness what I witnessed, where we saw chiefs of fire departments from across the state of Connecticut come before our committee to beg for the proper funding so that they could be adequately trained and have cutting-edge equipment to provide safety for our families. In my view, public safety is at the top of government service. If there's one thing government needs and must do, it's protect its citizens. And I think we would all agree that when we dial 911, we want to have the best come to us and help us. Why wouldn't we want to fund those individuals so that they would have the proper equipment and training to do their job well? Because I know that they will always do their job well. Our budget increases the funding for fire training. It's a priority to us. We recognize this, and we placed it in our budget, and we've continued to do that. And our budget includes significant and substantial structural change that is a bold and new path for Connecticut, a new direction for Connecticut. Basically, this budget places the public interest before the special interests and demonstrates quite clearly that there is an alternative to Hartford's business as usual budgeting, one that puts the burdens of today on the backs of our children tomorrow. That must stop, and it does with our budget. We demonstrate that there is a better way that benefits middle-class families, not the government itself, and instead sets our state on a path to prosperity for us, for our children, and for all future generations. For these reasons, I support this budget and will vote for this budget. And Mr. President, at this time, I would like to yield my time to Senator Boucher.